to have to try to dive into a bullet time. They don't want to have to deal with the Kaisa getting really strong here. They want to put 1xN, as you noted, on something like potentially the Ashe, as we see the hover here.
Keystone to take into the Gwen. I don't think you want to take extended trades against her in the long term. Obviously, level 1 might be a different story. Hoya was willing to give a lot of his health just to make sure that Flandre could not get deep into the bottom jungle or the top jungle, but that has now come at the cost of both of their flashes down. Hoya starting to chug pots immediately, and I imagine
free resources over to Nefiri and Gwen. The moment that those two start getting out of control, it becomes a lot more difficult, and Hoya is now sitting at 4 CS and is basically permanently out of this game with 2 levels down already.
Tarzan, nice attempt to try and steal back. Can't really do anything as a jungler. Well, you've already seen that Feather and 1xN have rotated mid lane so that they can be ready to start making their way to the first grub rotation, because it's been
relatively strong wombo, at level 6 for ThunderTalk. If you can, get that Yone ultimate on top of, somebody who either got Ashe arrowed or, Sejuani ultimate, you throw out the R there. Seraphine's going to be able to combo off of it. Galio's going to be able to hit the knockup. There are plenty of ways for ThunderTalk to slowly chip back in this game. I think 6, you certainly don't want to give over 5 if you're going to contest, but we see the teleport coming in.
It's Flandre. KL leads with the Pop Blossom, and 1xN is the target that has to pay the price for the rest of ThunderTalk, who are trying to now escape. Beichuan still has a flash. There's so much CC on the side of ThunderTalk that I'm surprised that Hope did not go cleanse this game, but, it might just be a sign that one of them is going to have to get a Mikhail's Crucible for him, as Hoya is already taking a lot of damage from Flandre. This is a Hollow Radiance against, 2 subcomponents on the side of Flandre. But
as I say that, we see a play on the top side onto Flandre.
Oh, great arrow by 1xN. Flandre even tried to dodge it, but still got clipped. This is going to be a nice pickup for ThunderTalk, and a shutdown ideally would have been nice in Satab's pockets, but you know what? We'll see if H1 can make use of the extra bit of gold. Meanwhile, the rest of Anyone's Legend say, sorry, Flandre, but your death will not be in vain. We just got the mid-tier 1.
Yeah, certainly not a bad fight, but it's not over just yet. Tarzan jumping onto Feather, and he can keep going.
5,000 HP. You see Shanks trying to threaten on that top flank. The rest of Anyone's Legend threatening below. A teleport is coming in from Hoya to help reinforce with the rest of the escape. They turn onto KL. He flashes away. The Pop Blossom doesn't really clip anyone. It's used defensively, but Shanks is still threatening on the top side. They turn right onto the Ninja, and Shanks gets popped, and now suddenly, just like this is where ThunderTalk can thrive. A 5-man unit all working cohesively together.
Tarzan!
But then you throw in the Hound's pursuit from Tarzan, and he's going to pull ThunderTalk apart. He's still got that dog in him, and 1xN has no ground to run from. Anyone's Legend pick up an ace and only drop 2. Both of the compositions stylistically thrive at different peaks throughout the course of the fight. When ThunderTalk are able to deal with one of the threats, isolate them as a 5-man unit, then they're able to reestablish battle lines and things look okay. But then Anyone's Legend re-engage, not with 1 threat, but 2 threats in the Nefiri and the Gwen, and suddenly the whole composition, which thrives on being a 5-man unit, pulls apart, and then, yeah, the rest is history.
Yeah, definitely agree, and I think a very important thing for AL that really just kind of cements their pretty strong lead here is just how much of the gold went on to Hope in that ThunderTalk to win, and we see that 3rd dragon now going over to the side of AL.
Yeah, 6,000 gold advantage for Anyone's Legend at 19 minutes in the game. A minute away from the Otacon spawning. Already 2 items have been completed on the likes of Shanks, who is already using the power of that. You know what? Tarzan definitely made me believe that he was going to go for it. He is 2 items, and Hoya is unfortunately very poor on this Galio compared to the rest of the curve of the map. But because they forced away the big tank in Hoya away from the top side of the map, and Beichuan is on the bot side, this is a free Otacon for Anyone's Legend.
Yeah, it's just objective after objective after objective going over to the side of AL at this point. Sacking the grubs early turned out to be fine. They're stacking that dragon up, which Soul is going to be spawning in about 2.5 minutes. They're going to have Otacon for it. And this is going to be a pretty scary proposition for ThunderTalk. I think when you
take at least for the next 2 minutes, and engage from Zatab trying to lock down Flandre, who now has the assistance of Beichuan, almost dies to Flandre in the back, but he's able to snap back with the Soul Unbound, and Beichuan finishes the job.
Yeah, it's on here, and that's definitely going to be the primary objective, it looks like, for both of these teams moving forward.
Yeah, and you can see that hang on.
Oh, they were spotted. I don't think they
KL.
know, though.
Yeah, it's KL as, or no, wait, where is KL? KL is impersonating Shanks at the moment. Dude, it's so hard to keep track of Nico sometimes. Oh, Beichuan knew someone was in the brush there. He throws out the Glacial Prison, and they jump right onto the main Pop Blossom Engager. No chance for a Nico ultimate to be used this game. Hope forced to flash away. In the thick of it is Shanks, but dies early. Now it's up to Flandre and Tarzan to turn the fight because Hope cannot participate. But don't tell me they win a 2v5, right? But Beichuan already lost. Flandre finally dies, but now Tarzan is able to find one back onto Feather. Satab, below 50% HP. But they don't have a jungler anymore, so Tarzan is trying to stay in range so that he could threaten with a smite steal. Satab tries to step up, looks for the flash, misses completely. The Soul Unbound will take him back, but Tarzan is able to use the Call of the Pack to dodge the last bit of damage. Hope now Hope has arrived back to the fight, and they're trying to cut them off now. Beichuan still not going to spawn for another 13 seconds.
This is a very dangerous situation for both of these teams. Hope has got to have some fancy footwork here.
I hope they're keeping track of the Ash Arrow cooldown because it's going to come up sooner or later. The flash from Hope, but it's Hoya that gets pounced by KL, who finally comes back from the grave with the Pop Blossom. 1xN isolated for Tarzan to sink his dog fangs into, and ThunderTalk have completely collapsed under the pressure of anyone's legend.
Oh, they just didn't have enough. They barely didn't have enough firepower to be able to close out that fight the first time. Tarzan ends up surviving. Hope survives on the back end of that fight after Beichuan dives him. It looked so good, but we're not even done. Feather is getting jumped.
Tarzan will not allow any mercy to be shown on the Rift today. ThunderTalk won't even get a chance to contest and look for a flip of a smite steal as Tarzan and Shanks are going to force out the Piggy Rider away from the Dragon Pit, find themselves another kill to claim. 8-0-6 on this Neferi board. So TT know that this is happening. The question is, can they do anything about it? Beichuan gonna try to walk up, stunned up by KL, the Pop Blossom, sidestep. Beichuan can get in? Oh, it was so close, but Tarzan secures the Baron. Now Beichuan is overextended for it, and Hoya! Oh no, I don't know if that was the hero's entrance you wanted to take, but I respect that you're not gonna let your comrade go down without, you know, some companionship at death's door. ThunderTalk now down to 3 members, actually 2, because Feather died off screen somehow. I didn't catch that at all, but yeah, Super K-Man rocks 11,000 gold advantage for anyone's legend. I think this is game.
Yeah, this was a dominant performance from anyone's legend. We got to see their star players, the ones we were hyping up, really perform, really show up here, and I don't think Satab and 1xN are quite going to be enough to be able to stop this push into the base.
Yeah, I would not imagine it. Oh, Tarzan, this is just rude, man.
Yeah, disrespect.
Oh, they got close to killing 1xN, but GG, well played. Anyone's legend take the first game against ThunderTalk.
Really awesome game number 1 from AL. You can praise almost every aspect. Know if there's going to be a very easy way for them to be able to deal with him moving forward, and what we've already seen in terms of the hand stiff between these two teams could make that even more difficult.
Yeah, on the one hand,
ThunderTalk need to start getting the ball rolling. If they're going into the mid to late game here at gold neutral with Misfortune and Talia as your mid bot lane, like, that's just not necessarily what you want. You got Jace on the top side as well. Even Brand isn't going to have the easiest time in the back half of this game. There is so much pressure.
They want to be proactively using that ability to roam around the map.
AL's proactive, though.
Yeah, that's right. Anyone's legend making the first move once again, and that rock will hit the cow in the back of the head, and the Ignite from KL claims first blood.
Yeah, a really smart play there from AL, and it's not over. The bullet time has to try to clear this wave, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
KL will give his life under the tower to ensure that anyone's legend get the second kill onto 1xN.
Start to feel here. They do have the 5 grubs, and I think at this point, trying to play for Talia, just moving around into every lane that she possibly can is really the option for this team. Jace still has quite a bit of combat power. So we see 1xN. Oh, no. Oh, through his head. That's a pretty major mistake. It's a 3-second dragon here for AL. It likely would have been that anyways, but Hope is now in a really great position. The CS difference is ginormous for ThunderTalk to actually be able to catch, but Beichuan. Oh, Tarzan?
That might have not been the ideal target you can get. Beichuan trades one back under Tarzan before falling to the onslaught of Hope and KL. Oh,
the
my
flash!
goodness, Hope! just like Legolas at Helm's Deep finds a critical arrow, putting into the back of 1xN, even with the flash burned by the misfortune.
Damage with Hope here, but it really is a great bullet time from 1xN to be able to burst down that Skarner. Unfortunately, KL is able to make his way in, but there's a fight already.
Tarzan rams H1 right back into the other side of that wall. Rift Herald is in the middle of this fight, which is very chaotic at the moment. Hoya trying to get some damage with that accelerated shock blast, flashing to the safety of Satab, but now they are both pinned in the back of this Baron pit. Satab flashing over the wall, tries to get away, but he's on the
right there to be able to, keep things alive, and Beishuan's just not able to survive the income. But look at Kyle here, flashing out to keep himself safe, but on the re-engage, it's perfect, but we're already back to live.
Unfortunately, Super K-Man rocks. The rule of LPL is you don't get the chance to talk about replays that often because we're still fighting just seconds after as Feather drops to Hope once again. Actually, it was Beishuan that dropped. Hope had, or Feather had died some time ago, and everyone's just dropping on the side of ThunderTalk. Anyone's Legend up 1,000 gold, so it doesn't seem like Satab is in immediate danger on that bottom side lane, but 3 dragons to Anyone's Legend's name. Flandra, starting up the fight with the Between Worlds, and Beishuan is caught between pretty much every single member of Anyone's Legend on the top side of the map. Feather duel at the beginning has now ballooned larger and larger, and they have found themselves in a sunk cost fallacy where this is the only way they can get back in. However, Anyone's Legend have just as powerful tools to be able to sink into the hearts of ThunderTalk members one by one. Feather has a flash available. I don't know if he has ultimate available. Yeah, he's not even popping it if he did have it available because he knows that it would just be futile. Probably just wants to save it for the next big objective fight, but Super K-Man rocks. I am having trouble believing that ThunderTalk have really any say. This is pretty much Anyone's Legend game to win or lose.
Yeah, I mean, oh man, just Hoya barely getting out of there. Once again, we see that mid-tier 2 falling. Dragon spawning in 2.5 minutes. I think if Infernal Soul is acquired by Anyone's Legend, even if they're just able to set up around it and be first to the objective, I see no way for ThunderTalk to be able to initiate that in any clean way. Just coping and praying, but once again, Beishuan just too far forward.
Yeah, I mean, there comes a point in time in a game where it seems like the fights are already predictable from the start. And when you have Shanks leading the fight with an Alistar ultimate, he can just get away with things like this. He's not taking any damage. KO runs them through with a giant Keeper's Verdict, sending them to the sky. And Hope with the arrow.
That fight, but once again, back to live.
I mean, TT are trying to fight for their right to stay within their side of the jungle. But unfortunately for them, that jungle does not belong to you anymore. The flash from Tatab to avoid the impale. Bullet time plus the pyroclasm from Beishuan will at least do a lot of damage. Actually, that wasn't even the pyroclasm. It was just a little bit of that burn damage. Since he just threw it out against Shanks and Flandra, they've been chunked down on the backside, but Hope is still healthy. Take their bases right now because they probably have gold to spend and would rather try and maximize their item spikes before what could be the more important fight around Otacon on the bottom side of the map or Baron on the top side. And there's a window here where ThunderTalk are going to get a decent amount of damage on this tier 2, completely taking it out thanks to the fact that they have 5 grubs. Meanwhile, Feather, Hex Flash onto KL, forced to flash away. Keeper's Verdict winding up, batter up. Who's he going to swing for? It hits no one. Tarzan now in the base. Now, you don't want to be there. Uh-oh, and now Hope has been isolated because the rest of his front line went way south. Flandra teleports in, but it's too late. The AD carry for Anyone's Legend has been taken out by ThunderTalk, and now this is where confidence can start to settle in. There's no more Varus. Maybe there's a chance you can at least set up positioning around Baron.
Yeah, I think there is something building here for ThunderTalk. Again, you need miracles in order to get back into this game. They might have been gifted, at least a tiny one, by Anyone's Legend in that fight. Hope kind of being left alone on the back end there. It's really easy to be able to capitalize, but we're going to see the Baron dance now.
Shanks pressuring on the left flank. Feather goes in for a knock-up on the Tarzan. Good seismic shove combo. Already lost 50% of his HP, but now Shanks is solo diving the backline with the power of that All-Star ultimate at his side, and Flandra throws down the Between Worlds, pops all of them like balloons, and Tatab is suddenly the only TT member left standing. A valiant attempt by the ThunderTalk squad to see if they could find a miracle in a play where Hope is not involved, but unfortunately for them, Anyone's Legend still just as strong with only 4 men.
absolutely disgusting from Shanks. He goes in 1v5 into the middle of the enemy team with an Alistar ultimate, and he heals through every bit of damage that is put out by ThunderTalk. Just a brilliant fight, highlighting what we talked about in draft, where that Sylas is so difficult to deal with in the back half of the game. And while respawn timers are coming up, it feels like that might have been probably the third or fourth nail in the coffin here for ThunderTalk. Technically is an objective that could be taken. I'm not sure if AL need it, but they're certainly going to prioritize it.
Holy moly. Shout out to the observers from LPL who showed us that Feather was forced to pop the Alistar ultimate just because a combo was coming in from Hope, and could have possibly just completely one-shot Feather on that rotation. That gives AL enough priority to just start up the Baron for free. KL finding an engage here. Keeper's Verdict onto 2 members. Feather and Satab in trouble. There's the Chain of Corruptions. Lands onto Satab. Hope doesn't have that Piercer Arrow winding up just until now. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Good night, Baitron. Shanks comes in for the cleanup crew. And 1xN, at least for now, he's able to skirt on by away from danger. But now he is tasked with the impossible alongside Hoya, and that is defending 2v5 against anyone's legend.
How are you even supposed to play these fights out if you're ThunderTalk? The bullet time going to come down. Shanks is going to pop the stopwatch. That's the last real bit of damage that ThunderTalk had, and it looks like it is going to be a base collapse here. The teleport coming back in from Flandra. It's going to be full health.
Shanks is just going to rip the Jace ultimate for fun, throws out an accelerated shock blast to put some damage into the back of Hoya's head. The Nexus turrets are falling. Nice
Tarzan.
two-man impale from Tarzan, and that should be the final nail in the coffin for ThunderTalk's chances. Anyone's legend, sweep them in the series.
What a dominant 2-0 from Anyone's Legend. An absolute masterclass from them, and it came across